OnyxFest 2021 was provided by the Central Indiana Community Foundation and the Indiana University Office of the Vice President for Research. Sponsorship was also provided by IUPUI, Morgan Stanley, the Indiana University Alumni Association Neil Marshall Alumni Club, and Wise Men Logistics.
Well, son, you just gonna sit there? You can't go the rest of your life not talking to me, no.
I can't. Just watch me, Pops. Just watch me.
Son, I don't understand why you all up in the flux. All I said was...
All you said was you don't understand why I have to go all the way up to some fancy college to get a degree, to get a job working for the white man, when I got a perfectly good family business right here just waiting for me to take over.
Well, you do. It's the truth.
No, Dad. It's not the truth. It's your truth. It's what you want for me. And I'm damned if I don't want the same.
Now you watch your mouth, boy. You ain't never gonna be grown enough to curse me. I'm still your father, and that alone makes me worthy of respect. Even yours.
Sorry, Pop. I don't know what came into me. I know how to be mad without being disrespectful. Been having to do it my whole life.
Now you had just a little bit too much sass on them last words. Sounded just like your sister. Just like her.
Well, you wouldn't be saying that to her. You be getting pom-poms out the closet and waving them in the air, shouting, "Oh, miss, here we come," or something equally trifling.
You sure there ain't something you really want to say to me, boy? I can feel you just itching to spout off. So go on ahead and get it all out so we can sit right here on this rock and do some nice, relaxing fishing for a spade. Go on. Say it.
Daddy.
Oh, Lord, here we go.
Daddy, you know I love you. I honor you. I've been watching you my whole life, working 6, sometimes 7 days a week to keep the business going. And you've done well.
Well.
You know what I mean, Pop. You got a nice little business going. And you always made sure that Mama and Daddy and I were always well taken care of and always comfortable. You were a good provider. We never felt like we was poor.
Comfortable. You felt comfortable. Nice clothes. You could change your shoes whenever you wanted. Good coat for every season. Hot food on the table for every meal. Book bag always full of supplies. Yep. I say you was pretty comfortable. Just not enough to want to make a decent, honest living and be able to provide for your wife and kids so they could be comfortable too.
Pops, I don't have a wife or kids. I'm not married. I don't even have a girlfriend.
Why is that? You don't like girls? Something you trying to tell me?
No, Pop. Not that there'd be wrong with it if I didn't. The world is changing. And you got to get with the changes. Sitting out here in this little country town, the whole world is just gonna roll on past by you.
There it is. Finally.
There's what?
The truth. What you been trying to get at for the past 10 minutes. Your disdain and disgust for us living out in the South. You think you too good to live down here? You think you missing something? Is that it?
It's not that we live in the South. There are plenty good cities that are good to Negroes in the South. But this little hick town hole in the wall ain't one of them. You want me to run the family business? Fine. I'll take over the hardware store and open up a whole daggone chain. Just not here. Not in this little one-horse town. Move, Daddy, move to the city. A real city. And I'll go with you. But if you stay here, you'll do it alone. I'm tired of this way of living. And these folks' way of thinking. There has to be something more, something better. And I want that, Pops. I want it for myself. I want it for you.
Now, my daddy was born here. He was born a free man. He was able to do what none of his pappies before him had done. They gave him a little plot of land and they dared him to make it. And he did. He defied them all. Starting in a one-room storefront, just the front because
Jasper Big Michael used the main storeroom to make moonshine inside of whiskey. I know, Pops. I heard this story 1,000 times. I know how you worked and saved to buy him out. How you kept the names Waltz, because your daddy, Big Walter, was so well liked and respected, just like you.
Yes, sir.
Everybody in this town loves you. And they love Mama. And it ain't just because she makes the best peach cobbler in the state.
Yeah, she won that state fair so many times, they made her a judge just so she couldn't compete no more.
Yeah, I thought for sure they would give her a show on that television, like they did with Mama Lena with that New Orleans cookbook show in 1949. They had both colored and white folks in the audience.
Yeah, it was so popular, it was on the air on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Whew.
Yeah. We made a good life for you and your sister here. We gave everything that we had just so you and Dee could have something better. We made sure that we dug our roots so deep into this ground that your fruits and figs and flowers will grow forever. We pruned the weeds so that you and Dee could walk right into a garden.
Okay, Pops. I get it. I know those tall tales, and I heard those sad songs my whole life. You laid that guilt trip down real smooth, and it pours out your mouth like butter, dripping just enough to make that slippery slope a place you thought I could never fall off. But you was wrong. I slid past that stove and down the hill, right into the City College Welcome Center. It's a new day, Pops. It's a new kind of freedom.
You saying there's something wrong with the way I live my life?
No. I'm saying there's something wrong with the way you planned mine. That stove, that's your dream. And it's a good one. It just ain't never gonna be mine.
Damn it, Joe Malcolm. Are you trying to break your mother's heart or are you just trying to hurt me? Is my life an embarrassment to you? Are you ashamed to be my son?
Are you ashamed to be my father? I don't want you to be mad at me. I'm not trying to hurt you.
I'm not mad, son. Just disappointed. I thought I knew you, but I don't. No like father, like son going on here. Not that you fooled me because you didn't. I just was the one being the fool.
Pops,
Malcolm, Malcolm, are you down here?
Yes, D. Out here fishing with Pop on the rock.
Y'all been fishing from this rock for the past 10 years and ain't never caught nothing worth keeping. Where's the fun in that?
I never heard you complaining when you were eating them little crappie. And it seems I remember a bluegill or two passing those lovely lips more than once. Ain't that right, Pops? She ate them faster than Mama could cook them.
That's because if I didn't eat them before you got home, there wouldn't have been any left for me to get. If I depended on you to look out for me, I would have starved. Ain't that right, Daddy? Don't you think Malcolm's always wanted more than his share of what he was due? Did I interrupt something? 'Cause I can wait and come back.
No, it's fine. You was looking for me?
Yes, Percy's up at the house wanting to talk to you. Said you had a book or something he could borrow. Mama and I didn't know what in the world he was talking about, so she sent me down here to find you.
Yeah, I got an old almanac he was wanting to look at. He's thinking replaying his daddy's field. Not much call for okra in these pots anymore. Thought he'd try some berries, make a little wine or something. Plenty of money to be had in that. Folks always asking.
Well, if you tell me where it is, I'll be glad to give it to him for you. I won't mind one bit.
I just bet you won't. No. You just stay a little behind right here while I go give it to him. No need tempting either one of you with another minute. We all know that boy is sweet on you. And since you down here criticizing, why don't you grab my fishing pole and see what kind of luck you'll have with these little guppies in this water hole? If you want to fish big enough, you're going to have to get out of this little pond and move on up to the big lake. Or even the river. Ain't that right, Pops? Nothing but little fish able and trying to survive in this pond.
Looks like I interrupted some man talk. I'm sorry, Daddy.
It's okay, baby girl. Come sit with me a spell. Tell me about your day. Or your job. Or you being sweet on Percy Jones. Did I know about this?
I am not sweet. Well, maybe I am just a little. Oh, shoot, it's hard not to be. He's such a nice fella. That dark velvet skin, those big broad shoulders. He's about near perfect. And he's smart, Daddy. He's figuring out a way to turn that useless grassland into something productive. Gonna save his whole family farm when he puts his plan in action. What? Why are you looking at me like that?
Maybe Malcolm was right. I'm gonna have to get those pom-poms out the closet after all.
Pom-poms? For who?
For you! The way you cheering that boy on. You a whole parade all by yourself. I'm gonna have to get a horse out of Bill's orange pasture just to pull that big old float you riding on. Does your mama know you like that boy? Yeah, she knows. That's why she sent you down here to get your brother instead of leaving you alone in the room with him while she went and looked for the book. She's smart, your mama. Probably just saved you from getting pregnant.
Daddy, you know I don't mess around like that. I'm a good girl. I want to be somebody's wife way before I'm even going to think about being somebody's mama. I'm going to do things the right way. Don't I always?
Yes, Delia, you do. You have a proud, stubborn streak that reminds me of me. But just like me, you will always want to do the right thing, even when it wasn't what you might want to do. You're respectful. Always going to do what's best for the family. I love that in you, and I appreciate it about you. No guesswork. Everybody always knows where you stand.
Well, thank you for making me sound boring. No wonder Percy didn't try to follow me down here. Thank you, Daddy, for having faith in me. I just want to make you and Mama proud.
But what about you, Delia? Don't you want something different for yourself? Don't you want to go and be your own person?
Daddy, what are you talking about? I am my own person. I love being your daughter.
And Percy's wife.
Well, maybe, if he'll have me. Is that such a bad thing? I'm almost 18 and pretty soon I'll be too old and won't nobody want me. I'm not trying to be a spinster. They say a man who finds a wife finds a good thing. Well, I'm not lost. I'm right here, easily found. But that won't do me a bit of good if ain't nobody looking.
Oh, he's looking.
And how do you know that?
Is he a man?
Yes.
Does he have eyes?
Yes.
Trust me. He's looking. Don't worry, honey. When it's time, the Lord will send you whoever needs to find you. Might be Peter, might be Paul.
Might even be Percy.
Now let's catch some dinner before we all go hungry tonight.
Daddy, I know that Malcolm is a big disappointment to you. I know how much you wanted him to take over the hardware store and keep the business in the family. You worked too hard to be selling it to some stranger, and you shouldn't.
What are you suggesting, Dee?
Well, I'm really smart, Daddy. I figured out the negative percentages in sales and which items we should stock and which we should drop. I balanced all your books and figured out your taxes. I even took care of making sure that all the special orders were delivered without damage and earlier than expected. I know I'm everything that store needs, except
Except?
I'm a girl, a daughter, not a son. You wanted a legacy, and I'm just supposed to go off and get married and have a passel babies, but that's not what I want, Daddy. I want to run the store, maybe even make it so successful of 2 or 3 more in other parts of town. Everybody's always going to need something we have. You think they won't buy from me because I'm a woman? Or you think they'll look down at you because you couldn't get your son to do it? Well, that's too bad. You can't go choosing his life for him. But you can be in my corner and support mine. Let me run Big Waltz. I can do it, Daddy. Ain't no shame in having a daughter take over no matter what you think.
Hey, Delia.
Just think about it, Daddy. Think about me. Why can't you be proud of me? Why, Percy Johnson, what on earth are you doing down here?
He didn't get a chance to say goodbye. Thought he'd come down here and wish you well.
Oh, did he now? Percy, is there something you need to talk to me about, or are you just gonna pretend like we all blind?
Percy.
Well, Mr. Stone, I did want to talk to you.
About?
About plowing my fields and setting up an irrigation system. I'm told you're the best in town when it comes to figuring out how things work, sir.
Is that right?
Well, Malcolm, won't you take your sister on back up to the house while we talk over his plans for their fields? Don't want to bore you and Dee with our good old country boy talk. Y'all go on up and have a lemonade with your mama and talk about education or something equally exciting. Put all those smarts to good use.
Come on, D. Just let these boys have their moment.
You want to have a seat, son?
Oh, no, sir, thank you. I'm just fine standing right over here.
It wasn't a question.
Oh, yes, sir. Sorry.
Now, you want to tell me what you really came down here for? And I've been made a fool of once today, so my patience ain't up for any more games. You got something you want to say, you best to get to talking real fast.
Well, yes, sir, you see.
Percy, get to the point. Did you come to my home for a book?
Yes, sir, the Farmer's Almanac. Got all the answers I'm gonna need right here inside.
Percy.
Tells me everything I need to know about moon sets and tide tables.
Percy, the point. My dinner is still in that pond.
Well, Mr. Stone, I did want to talk to you about permission.
Permission to plant your berries down in your wetlands?
No, sir. Permission to Cordelia.
Oh, I see. You trying to plant your berries in her wetlands.
No.
Let me tell you something, son. Most anybody else, I be giving the green light and tell them to go. Delia is a smart girl, and I trust her judgment in most instances and about most things. But you, now that's a different story. I don't think I could stomach you plant your berries in her.
No, sir. That's not what I'm trying to do.
Good.
I really like Dee. I mean, she's beautiful. She's smart. She's gonna make a great wife and a wonderful mother someday, and her children will be
Black.
Excuse me?
Her children will be black, just like me and her mama.
I'm confused. I don't understand what you're going on about. Of course her children will be black.
Will they? With you? Everybody know your grandpappy is white, Mr. Stovall from Cedarville. Blonde hair and blue-eyed devil of a man. Got with your grandma when she was 15, and when she birthed your daddy less than a year later, he had ran off with some rich white girl from up north. Said your pappy wasn't his. Called your grandma a whore and threw her out like trash. That's the kind of blood that runs through your veins. Evil. He treat all black women like trash. Always did. I don't want that demon seed in my grandkids. They gonna be pure, just like us.
Mr. Stone,
Now you can't help who your family is, but I can help mine.
Mr. Stone, I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry.
No need to be sorry. It is what it is. You are who and what you are. Your grandpappy might as well cross the ocean on a slave ship and brought me back. That's what it amounts to. Same way of thinking. Just a curse. But we ain't slaves no more. We men. Good men. Husbands and providers and fathers. We're a proud fist of people. Ain't no going back. It's all in the past. That sign on Mr. Whitcomb's diner may still say no dogs, no Negroes, and no Mexicans. But us, we're gonna become something greater than your grandpappy white school books ever thought we could be. Joe Malcolm Delia Ruth, they gonna be somebody.
You're right.
I know I'm right. You get no argument there.
You're right. I can't change my family's history, their past. But I can choose my own future and my own wife. Most black families in the South have a touch of being tainted. Maybe not directly. Not you and not Miss Esther. But what about their people? How far back do you think you can go before you find out somebody took advantage of someone and one of their people? Just because you don't know it don't mean it ain't true. That rage you feel, I feel it too. That black skin you have, I have it too. That love you got for Delia, I got that too. Now I'm trying to do the right thing and go about this courtship the right way, but Dee's a grown woman. She has rights and she has a choice. I thought Malcolm was exaggerating when he said you have a need to control your children's lives. I told him he was crazy. That your love for him would never let you undermine what was best for him and Delia. Maybe I was wrong about that.
You thinking about the fine me, boy? You smelling yourself like that? Don't test me, son. You don't want to do that. Consider yourself warned. You hear me, boy?
Loud and clear. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think I'll go enjoy a glass of Miss Esther's lemonade. I hear it's the best in town. Happy fishing.
Damn! Lord, you testing me. This might be the one that's more than I can bear. I've been obedient. I've been faithful. Except for that one time with Cindy Rucker. But Esther forgave me for that. I've been the best man I knew how to be. Love my woman, my children, most parts of me. Kept my hands high where all could see my reverence, praise, and love, Lord, for thee. My life ain't been easy, but it's always been good. You covered, protected, probably more than you should. I know what I know, and I believe that is right, but Lord, if I'm wrong, lead me into the light. This hate is a burden that's too great to bear. Your people still trying to make it down here. I want to be the man you fashioned me to be. But Lord, if I'm blind, please help me to see. Loose these chains that's holding me. This hate ain't never gonna let me be free. Not the way I supposed to be.
Brought you some lemonade. Percy said things got a little hot down here, but the sun's going down and I feel a breeze.
Thank you, baby girl. This will definitely help cool me down. I know your mama took those bitter lemons and turned this into something sweet. That's how you gotta treat life.
Take the bitter with the sweet?
No. Make the bitter into something sweet. You gotta peel back all the hard layers to get to what's inside. Then you gotta add something to make it turn out different. It ain't gonna change on its own. You gotta put some work in. Your mama loves making this lemonade. She don't even think of it as work no more because she knows the pleasure it's gonna bring when she's done. That's how you need to go through life, D. Figuring out what you can add to make the bitter times to something sweeter.
Is that so? Does that work for everybody or just you? Because it sure ain't working for me. Percy, has that been working for you?
Malcolm, I don't think this is the time to.
The time to what? The time to stand up and be a man? To try to change this bitter cup into something sweet? Well, when is the time, Pops? Because for me, ain't no time like the present.
Malcolm, have you lost your mind?
Don't worry about it, D. It's okay. Let him squawk. Behaving like a boy don't make you look like no man. Throwing away your cup don't make it taste any less sweeter or bitter.
Mr. Stone, he just meant.
Percy, I can speak for myself.
Percy, why are you even still here? Thought you'd be long gone by now.
Well, you thought wrong. I'm not gonna leave until you at least think about what I said about me and Delia. It's the right thing to do.
Right for who? For you? Look, boy, I didn't plant your family tree, but those lemons is gonna be too bitter for any of us to sweeten. That drink gonna be poison.
Percy, you asked if you could court me? And you told him no after I told you how I feel about him? Daddy, why?
You spoke with your father about me?
Yes.
No. Let's go on back up to the house. I'll try to explain it to you there.
No, Daddy, you can explain it to me right here, to all of us. Malcolm, do you know what's going on?
Yes, D. I know exactly what's going on. Just another thing that he has to control. Another little bit of that sweetness that he talks so much about that he's never going to let us have. You know, I've been standing here listening, trying to figure out why you so hell-bent on making us miserable.
Malcolm, I don't think.
No. Let him go on. Let him finish. Let's all hear what he's got to say. Finish.
You're our father. You're supposed to love us, want more for us than you could ever have. Isn't that the way this whole parenting thing is supposed to work? But you just can't let that be. You can't stomach the thought of us being happy. Or is it that you can't stomach the thought of us being happier than you? And I've been wondering why. Why you holding on to us so tight like you ain't gonna never let us go? Day after day after day. You do everything you can to make us be the way you saw us in your head the days when we was born. D happily slaving away over a stove, then making lemonade for all her little black babies, while her husband's breaking his back to keep a roof over their head, and me working my fingers to the bone in a little hardware store in a colored section of town, pretending you only want to service our people when all the time you're just trying not to get the white folks riled up about a black man making it on his own. And I don't even think that's all of it. I think you don't want the white folks in your black stove. And you don't want to be where the white folks are. And you sure don't want anybody with white blood coming into this family. I think you a racist. You've been segregated so long, you think anything else is just wrong.
Boy, you got a lot to learn.
Malcolm, I think you went too far.
Really? You can say that after what he said to you.
What is going on? What don't I know?
Go on. Tell her.
Your daddy had some reservations about us being together because my granddaddy is white. He doesn't want his grandchildren to have Stovall blood.
But Percy, you're as black as I am. That doesn't make any sense. We live in the South. So many of our people are, mixed with something. I think Mama has some white folks in her family. She sure was sweet on that little yellow girl we saw in the Toggery.
Delia, why would you go and say something like that?
Because it's true. One day when we're out shopping and I saw Deacon Warner's little mixed kids, those hazel eyes and tawny hair, I said I thought they were pretty.
And your mother? What did she think?
Well, I don't rightly know. I never asked her. But she didn't tell me I was wrong. And she smiled at his daughter.
Well, I want to know. Come on.
Where are you going?
To go ask her, to try to make some sense of all of this. Percy, you coming?
In a minute. This is a lot to digest. I think I'm just gonna go sit over here on this rock. Y'all go on ahead. I'll catch up soon.
Percy.
Maybe your daddy was right. Maybe I'm not good enough for you.
Percy Johnson, you are the best man I know. You gave up a chance at a scholarship to the best black college there is to stay here and study agriculture and save your family's farm. Malcolm is in trouble because he wants to do something different, which is fine for him. Doesn't make him any less of a good son. Doesn't make him any less of a man. We're all different people, and God gives us different walks in life. We all got to be free to walk down our own path and find our own way. My daddy doesn't understand that yet. Maybe he never will. He's stubborn and set in his ways and his thinking. But I understand it, and I understand mine. I'm different from my brother. I love this town. I know it may still have a lot of issues, and there's still some parts a Negro can't feel comfortable in after that sun goes down. But I see it changing. Maybe not fast enough for some folks, and that's okay too. Everybody's got to get in where they fit in and do whatever the Lord has laid upon their hearts to do. Folks got to understand that their steps was ordered from the first moment their tiny feet touched the ground. Bible says even before. See, God laid out a path for all of us to walk on, and everybody has to follow their own to get to what they've been created and purposed to do. I know my path is here. I want to be here in this place to take care of my mama, and yes, even my daddy when they get too old and not able to take care of themselves. But before that, I want to be able to stop by their house after church on Sunday and watch my children be mesmerized by my mama's fancy cooking and my daddy's funny jokes. Yes, Malcolm. We all thought daddy was funny. Till we got big enough to want to stop laughing when our pride got bigger than our hearts. My heart is right here in this town. My path is right here on this ground. My walk is to carry out my family legacy, even though I'm a girl and not the son my daddy hoped would take his place. Just like doors for Negroes are being opened, opportunities for women are starting to take place too. And I'm a Negro and a woman, so I'm double purpose and doubly determined. I'm gonna swallow all the lemons that folks who hate our kind poured into our cups, but I'm gonna add my Oh, sweetness, and change the flavor before it passes through my lips. I can already taste it. I wish you could have a taste of it, Percy. I wish our paths were entangled and could get all crossed up in it somewhere down the road. My cup is sweet. Malcolm!
Well, now, Missy,
Mama!
that was quite a speech. It's okay, baby. I meant the first part, when you were still a child of God and not yet that woman you became towards the end.
Oh.
Why don't you cheer and go on up to the house? Dinner's ready. Percy, you're welcome to join us. Malcolm, make sure you keep an eye on Percy.
Don't you mean D?
No, I mean Percy. I think Dee was trying to pull him down the path a little faster than even he's ready to go.
Pops.
Not now, son. Go on up to the house with the others. Just one more time, Joel. Do what your mama and I asked you to do without you.
That little girl done grew up right before my eyes, and I didn't even see it happening the way it did. God blessed us, Ezekiel. The Lord gave us 2 fine children, 2 good minds, 2 good hearts. And he sent Percy to find that good woman. Now, I know Daddy's not ready to let they little girls go, and Dee in some ways is still just a little girl.
That boy is not touching my daughter. The defiling of the women in this family stops here. I won't have it.
That boy is every bit as black as Malcolm. We all black in the eyes of the law and in the eyes of God. There's some good people, Zeke, everywhere. Black folks, Mexicans, Asians, Indians, and yes, even some good white ones.
I can't believe you just said that.
The Bible
The
says.
Bible says to steal a people away from their land to bring them to another one. Stolen from the people who were already here that were massacred and executed just to make room for the new ones. Those people rotting in the belly of those ships, those are people, Esther. Black people. Torn away from their loved ones and cultures and beliefs. Treated like animals. Traded and sold like oxen and working right alongside them in the field.
I know our history, and it's horrible. But we made it, Zeke. We're here. Times are changing. Maybe not as fast as they need to, but a little bit more each day. Now, Malcolm, he's got a chance at something great. A real education. Those colleges and universities, they're turning out some fine people. World changers.
Delia, wishing that I let her take over the store. A woman running the hardware store.
That's wonderful. Why not let her? It's about time the women in this town start making their mark.
That's what I've been trying to tell him. I bought you a sweater. Thought it might help you fight off the chill.
Thank you, babe.
Well, where's my coat?
Where's my dinner? Mama's spaghetti would have tasted much better with some crappie laying on that plate next to it. You've been down here fishing all day, and that pail is still empty. Did you lose your touch?
The hardware store, huh? You really want this?
Do I want it? Oh, Daddy, you have no idea how much. I love that place. I see the possibilities. Not that you haven't done a great work, but Daddy, times are changing. Needs are changing. People's tastes are changing. I want them to be able to come to the store and get everything they need to make their homes not just comfortable, but really beautiful.
You. Big wall like that. I'm sorry, baby girl. Not that I didn't think you were capable,
But ever since Joe Malcolm came along, your daddy been walking around here like with his chest out like a bull tucky. Because he had an heir to carry on his dream, his legacy. But then you came along and you changed his world. Because he had a daughter to dote over and become the real love of his life.
You was daddy's little girl. And it's hard just thinking of you as all grown up already. Real, very, truly hard. But I'm trying.
Oh, Daddy, I'll always be a little girl. I love you. I'm just going to be Percy's woman, too.
No! Now you can marry any other boy in this town. Percy Johnson is off limits. Now, him and Malcolm can be the best of friends. That's man stuff. But for you, oh, this kind is not welcome in this family.
What kind, Daddy? What are you talking about? You've known Percy his whole life. We've all been friends since we was kids. He's a kind person, Daddy. He has a good heart. He comes from a good family.
Enough! I say it what I say it. Now you can have the damn store. Take it. Run it. I give you that. But don't be asking for my blessing on no stove all. That says just something you ain't never gonna get. I'm hungry. Now you women can come on back up to the house. Y'all can stay out here and freeze. Don't make me no never mind one way or t'other.
Ezekiel.
What is his problem? What is the problem? What is it that I don't know?
I never thought I'd be having this conversation.
What conversation? What are you talking about? We ain't country cousins.
No, D. Your daddy ain't never cheated on me. Well, there was that one time. Never mind. Me and your daddy has been my best friend and protector since we was 10 years old.
Then what is the big secret? I ain't never seen Daddy this mad. What does this have to do with Percy? I just don't understand.
That boy ain't done nothing except being born.
Is it because his granddaddy's white? We know other folks that got other blood mixed down their family line. Daddy knows some of them too, but he don't look at them no different. He treats everyone the same. He even goes fishing with Jasper and Brock Pickens, and they just plain out white. What does this have to do with Percy?
This ain't got nothing to do with Percy. This is about me.
You?
Go on over there and sit on that rock, okay? Don't interrupt me or say nothing till I'm through.
But Mama...
We all played together when we were little kids. Me, your daddy, and Percy's grandpa. We was just kids. We ran out in the fields and we played all the fun games the kids back then played. Never seemed to matter to us which one was white and who was colored. Out in them fields, we was just kids. And me and your daddy, we did other things together. We'd walk to the little one-room schoolhouse, and we'd sit together in the children's corner on Sunday mornings at church. Well, one afternoon, I heard giggling and laughing. I hadn't been paying much attention because I didn't feel so good. Felt like I'd ate something that didn't agree with me, which didn't make much sense because my mama was the best cook in town.
So that's where you get it from.
Dorothy Johnson. She ran up behind me and she tried to cover my backside with a sweater. I pushed her away. Then she leaned over and whispered in my ear, told me I had the blood. I knew what she meant. I had 2 older sisters. Both them got the blood every month. I knew it weren't nothing to be embarrassed about. But I ran all the way home. Shame, anyways. Besides, I was only 10. I wasn't ready to deal with that. My mama helped me clean myself up and told me I was a woman now. A woman? I was still trying to be a kid. A couple weeks later, me and your daddy, we was walking home from the livery store. It was getting dark outside, so we decided to take a shortcut. Crossed the pasture and through the maze, crossed Mr. Stovall's field. We was almost on the other side when we saw James. I thought he was going to ask us to play, but he didn't. He called out real loud, "Robert, they over here." Before we could move, James's cousin, that visited from a little further down south sometimes, came out them cornfields. He had about 3-4 other boys with him. Your daddy stood up, told him we was on our way home, and we'd be going now. One of the boys asked Ezekiel who he thought he was talking to. But before your daddy could answer, that big old boy knocked him down to the ground. Then the other boy kicked him on the side of his face. I didn't know what to do. I heard Ezekiel yelling at me to run. But before I could get 2 steps, one of them boys had me pinned down on the ground underneath him. He was yanking at my dress. They yanked your daddy up by his feet and held on to him real tight. I was trying to see what had happened, and that big old boy on top of me punched me real hard right between my legs. I couldn't breathe. And then he kept hitting and hitting me. I almost blacked out. It hurt. Then he got off of me, and he laughed. All the boys was laughing, even James. Your daddy ran over to see if I was okay, and there was a little trickle of blood running down my leg. And I remember thinking, here I was getting beat, and the blood was back again. It was too much for my mind. I remember telling God I didn't want to be a woman no more. And he must have heard me, because I didn't bleed no more. All summer, I got to be a little girl again and let go of that pain. Me and your daddy, we played on the tree swings, and we swam in the creek with all the other children in town. It was easy. Kids forget quick. Life was just good again. Well, I played so hard all summer that by the time school came back around, I was almost too tired to go. First day, I didn't even finish my breakfast because I dozed off my nose just inches from Mama's hot cakes. I did real good in school that day. Got almost all the answers right. I knew I was showing off, but I couldn't help myself. It was fun. Near the end of the day, Miss Adams called me outside. The other kids laughed because they knew she was going to tell me to shut up and give somebody else a chance. Only nicer, because teachers didn't talk like that. But instead, she walked me over to Miss Johnson's. She was asking me all kinds of questions. I was confused. I heard my mama come in the shop, and they gave me a book to read. One of them real hard, but real good chapter books. And then they went in the corner and had a few words. I heard a sound. It looked like my mama had fainted. Miss Johnson ran to get us some water. I felt bad. I didn't even know my mama was sick. Well, when she was all better, she took me by the hand. She thanked Miss Johnson, and we walked all the way home without a word. None of us had noticed my big belly. I guess we thought Mama's cooking was just that good. That night, Mama and Daddy walked me down the dock roads. I remember thinking, he should be closed by now. a lady answered Daddy's knock on the back door. She was real pretty. She had chocolate skin and her black hair was coiled, swooped up like those girls on those cards in my daddy's cigar box. They set me on the table, and Doc laid his hand on my shoulder and eased me back on the table. He walked over at me and eyeballed me for a minute. Then he walked over to the calendar on his wall. Mama told him I was bleeding in March, but then it didn't come no more. I didn't tell him about the second time, 'cause God took it away that day. Daddy asked him to step outside. Then Mama came and she stood beside me. I think she was crying. I heard Doc to step outside. I heard Doc yell that it was too late. And Daddy got even louder and told him to do it anyway. The pretty lady, she asked me to relax, and she laid a sheet over my dress. She started pulling at my panties. I panicked. Had nobody ever touched me except that boy when he was hitting me, and I ain't never want to feel that pain again. But they wouldn't let me get up. Doc came, and he stood by my feet. He had a long knitting needle in his hand, and he told Daddy to cover my mouth. A hot, wet rag pressed down on my lips, and I felt a warm hand inside my leg. Another, only higher. I felt the cold steel brush against my thigh. And then nothing for a moment, but just for a moment. I thought I had peed on myself because everything was all wet. But before I could apologize, I felt a pain tear through my insides. Daddy pressed down harder. I didn't know if I was going to vomit, faint. I laid there, writhing and moaning for what seemed like an eternity. My hair was plastered all over my forehead, and I was heaving with every breath. And in the middle of all that, I needed to use the bathroom. I tried to tell him I needed to use the bathroom, and Doc yelled, "Go ahead, push it out." So I did. And I felt what was like a roller coaster rush through my body. And then nothing. Daddy moved the rag from my mouth, and I made myself see what had happened. And there it was. The tiniest, skinniest little toy of a baby I ever seen. She was ugly and beautiful all at the same time. Her skin was pretty, like those sugar wafers with a pinch of caramel on top that the church ladies side down the road to you when you're good. What little hair she did have was all fuzzy and yellow. Daddy reached down and grabbed the cord from her belly and held it in his fist. Whole little thing wasn't even moving. Doc laid her in the metal pan, and I remember thinking how cold that must be. There was a little bit of blood running from the tiny hole in her little tummy. I felt another pain, and Doc came and pulled something else out of me. I thought it was going to be another little doll. It was just a bloody clump. He laid it right in that metal pan on top of that little body. Mama and Daddy came and stood on either side of me. And we walked all the way home in silence, except for the occasional muffled wail coming from the hollows of Mama's throat. I didn't go back to school no more. Mama kept me close. I stayed in the kitchen all day, learning all her secrets and how to make everything taste so good. I saw your daddy the next summer. He looked older, serious, but he was only 12. And he didn't spend his whole life trying to protect me. Because he think he failed that day. That day that James Stovall called his cousins on us and they laughed at what they did.
Mama, I didn't know.
Don't nobody know.
Not even Percy?
Not even Percy. He don't know nothing went on between our families, and you can't tell him. Don't nobody know. That secret needs to stay buried in the past, where it belongs.
But Mama...
I can't drink from that bitter cup no more. Can't nothing make that sweet.
Oh, Mama.
Mama, D, it's getting dark. Y'all best come on up to the house. Might be something wild out here just waiting to get you.
We'll be there in a minute. Mama and I have been talking, trying to make things right.
Well, this must be the night for that.
For what?
For talking and trying to set things straight.
Why, Malcolm? What's going on?
Has something happened?
Daddy's up at the house talking to me and Percy.
Percy?
He's still here? And Daddy's talking to him?
Yeah, he told us how proud he is that you want to take over Walt's. Said he never thought it would have ladies shopping in it for nice things for their houses. But it will be a nice way to grow the business, having both tools and supplies for the men and pretty frilly trinkets for their wives. Twice as many customers, twice as much money.
Daddy said that?
Ezekiel.
I know, shocked me too. He said it was one way to sweeten the pot.
I can't believe it.
I wonder what came over him.
Me too.
I couldn't either. Until he took a shoebox out from under the shed and pulled $100 out of it. Told me to take myself down to the city college and get a road in the morning. Said I'd be the first one in the family with a college degree.
I wonder what came over Daddy.
Must have been something in the lemonade. He said if Mama can figure out how to make something so bitter turn out so sweet, that the least he can do is enjoy the cup. Or all the work of making it better would have been in vain. Didn't make a whole lot of sense, but if it gets me into school and Delia her store, then it's the best thing he could ever said. Come on, let's head up.
We're right behind you.
More woman talk? I'll try to walk slow so you can catch right on up.
It's like a miracle. It's like Daddy got what he was asking God for this morning.
Asking God.
I heard him singing this morning, pouring out his heart in a prayer, asking God to take away the hate out of his heart. Do you think God heard him?
I'm sure he did.
Do you think if we give it some time, he might come around about Percy too? Or is that too much for you? Because if
that boy ain't nothing like his granddaddy. And don't forget, he had a strong grandmother. Black women have been pouring strength, love, and light into our sons by ourselves for generations. We've built villages inside of cities for our sons. With or without fathers, there are some good, strong black men out there. Now, we didn't make the one-drop rule, but we can apply it. That boy is proud of his blackness, and he loves his family, and he's doing what he needs to take care of them and protect them, because that's what real black men do.
So you think Daddy will come around one day, see Percy for who he really is?
If Percy is the man I think he is, and your daddy is the man I know he is, it's all gonna work out the way it should. You just gotta have faith. Believe that God's gonna have his way. Now come on, let's go get some of that lemonade before it's all gone.
Mama, can you teach me how to make it like you do? All bitter and sweet and wonderful?
Baby, black women been making lemonade all our lives. Come on, let me show you how.